Hey, this is a video for Shafe about the disillusionment of sports. I got some assumptions about where you're at with the boys. Guessing coming up to about middle school age. I know you're very involved with their sports and continuing through their career. I might be able to offer a little bit of perspective. A couple of things that I've seen that might be different from you. I've witnessed this as a youngster playing sports myself, and I can tell you the reason why and some lessons that I took away from it my entire life is, you can learn teamwork, brotherhood, companionship. In the case of, say, football, I played football, I ran track, and I wrestled. I didn't play baseball. I know baseball's a little bit different of an animal, but I have a perspective on that as well. Just let me get through this selfish part first, and then I'll get on to the selfless part. When we were together during practice running two-a-days during the heat of the summer, you have that shared misery as a group. Something we have in common, especially if the coach seems like a dickhead that won't let us stop running until the slowest person makes a certain speed, or he sees the rest of the team kick in enough or encourage the person enough that the slowest, fattest, widest lineman finally has that speed. Going to away games where, not that you're going into a hostile environment, but in your child's mind, your own mind as a child, you're going into hostile environment, and as Shakespeare said, with your band of brothers. And there's something to me, like in your formative years, that can stick with you in the long run. Now, as to my other experiences, obviously I played with some kids that went on to the next level, being they went from high school to college. Their performance was a cut above, just like you said. Their internal drive was a cut above. Their parental involvement was something very different. There was a strategy, and it was beyond the team event. So they were willing to transfer their child to another school so that they could have a starting position on a team and be able to be a featured player. If it looked like, say in the case of our freshman year, most everybody my freshman year went to junior varsity. It was very, very unusual to go to varsity. And the couple of people that did went down quickly to JV, one so that they could start, but then the JV team was just sort of ransacked by varsity last minute, and they brought up some players so that they could have more depth. But our quarterback, in that particular case, transferred to another school in the county so that he could have a starting position. So when he was pulled up from, which he wanted to be varsity, but he wanted to be a varsity starter, but obviously he's a freshman in high school, for goodness sake. You can only imagine the physical development differences from people that may be actually, back then, you might be 18, 19 years old. The difference between that and a 14-something-year-old kid is huge in just the whole body development, and if some of the players are enhanced. It's very impractical to think that you're going to start as a freshman. Lo and behold, though, the other team offered him that, and there he went. Like, it was something weird, like an NFL draft in a way. Like, they're going free agent, and fast forward today, that's actually quite common that a player from the one town may try out for the team on the other town. In the case of baseball, I know. But back to my football experience. These players that went on to the second level, it depended on where you were from. Certain players who didn't necessarily have academic acumen, They laid everything they possibly could on the line to be as good at sports as they possibly could. So they would be, say, lifting weights while other kids were doing homework. And so that all comes to a head like your senior year. Like, you may be star of your high school team, but then not qualify for the secondary level because, one, they sacrificed everything and didn't have anything academically or skill-wise to fall back on. Versus a couple of the players that, say, the ones that did go on to play college, whether it was at the, junior college level or, full-on division university. The players that did that, dude, they were super, super freaking human amongst us. Just so much faster, so much smarter, so much more vision, beyond anything that I could even imagine. And, my deal, enough about them, let's talk about me. My deal, I was probably average, like a 50 percentile kind of thing. And they were beyond the 99th percentile in the high school environment. And, and that was going all the way up from Pop Warner. Like, they had always been 99th percentile. And their dads were usually 99th percentile players as well. And now I see it in the following generations. I'll give you an example. One of the guys I know, DJ, he went on to play for Florida A&M. So, imagine that, to go, Florida A&M, the competition is very, very staunch. They're not, you would think, well, they're never on the, top 10 and when you think of Florida universities, but trust me, man, that is some smash mouth Southern football going on there. Now, he played baseball, but it's not really my point. So there's a lot of talent there in baseball too. So he was originally a scrambling style quarterback, and this was his very last practice at football. And we were doing this drill. I can't remember what it's called. And it's basically one where you have to deflect 4 blockers and then tackle the dummy at the 5th position. So bam, recover, bam, recover, bam, recover, bam, recover, tackle. And the idea is to recover from being knocked on your heels and then still come back enough to where you can perform at the end of it. You got like a fine motor skill. You have some awareness. You have some awareness left after having your bell rung that you can still perform. Well, DJ didn't want to get hit. He was very concerned about his body, not wanting anything strained. And man, he juked all 4 of those guys and then tackled the tackle dummy. And coach made him run it again, along with some racial slurs and laziness and this and that. And that was DJ's last football practice. And good for him. He went on to do very good things as he specialized in baseball. Now, he didn't go pro, but my point is, you have a superhuman, from my point of view, as hard as I could run, as strong as I could get. These guys were faster. These guys were stronger, enhanced or not. The enhanced guys, you could kind of catch up to them, say in the 4th quarter, when they started getting gassed, and you could also rise above them, because if a person's all freaked out on trend, they get emotional, so you can sometimes kind of come around with them with that. But that's the idea, though. These guys were super fucking human. They weren't like just fitting in. It was like, say, if I could equate it to, no, let's leave it as football. I was going to equate it to baseball, and imagine a pitcher that throws so damn fast that it doesn't matter what the batter tries to do. Like, he would have to activate his swing so much fast. Like, he would have to activate his swing before he saw the pitch leave the pitcher's hands. Or say if you had a quarterback and a wide receiver, the quarterback can throw so precise and so hard, and the wide receiver can run so fast and so precise in his running after he catches the ball, that there is nothing the other team can do. And those guys make it to college, which, you know, they get an education or whatever, but it ain't the NFL. The one player from baseball that went on to pro, now this is a little bit, there were some guys that did it before my time and after my time. It was just ridiculous. You know, it was just like that. Imagine a pitcher getting up there and there's nothing the other team can even do about it. There's some things, but in the end, they just kind of wear themselves out trying. On the other end of it, so I have friends that, this one particular friend, I mean, he had his kid, brought his kid up from as young as possible, from T-ball all the way up through high school. And, you know, travel ball, investing thousands of dollars in kit, investing all that time. Like, I went from being able to hang out with my friend to the point to where all he did was just go to every practice, they sit there on their chairs and do God knows what. Go to home games, away games, sit on their chairs, do God knows what. All that time. And then the kid ended up, you know, petering out his junior year of high school. And, you know, he was probably, honestly speaking, a 40th percentile type player, but he played catcher. But he didn't want to play catcher, and he used to be back in the day. You know, catcher was fairly unique, but in the case of catcher, like, oh, I'm a catcher. But they had 3 other catchers, so you're not going to make varsity. And the way they do varsity and JV now is so different. Like, they have a whole pool of players, and then they start from that to assemble a varsity team. It's weird from what I can see. But he just petered out his junior year. Had some disagreements with the coach. Personally didn't take it very serious. His dad pushed him a little bit to encourage him to do it. But in a nutshell, didn't even end up playing. Didn't make the team his freshman year at all. Like, didn't even make JV. And that discouraged him a little bit. He was given a spot as manager for varsity, you know. But again, like, as a player, he wasn't willing to play any different position. I mean, at a 40th percentile in travel ball, it's not anything to slouch at. You know, there's a spot for you on the team. But it just petered out. Just like you said, disillusioned. But even worse than the parent being disillusioned is when the kid gets disillusioned. And so it is too with my other friend. This is on soccer. And so his son, look at me judging these things. His son is probably 75%, if not higher, of percentile of player. Like, he gets out there on the soccer field, he has the ball, and there's very little the other team can do to stop him. So he's coming up on his junior year of high school. He played last year. You know, the team kind of sucked around him, except for him, and he's not really interested in playing. So again, all that travel ball, all those thousands of dollars invested and extra and workout and all that time, just gone. So I don't know, man. I think it's important, but like you said, with the coaches, there's so much more involved. We'd hope for better, and we'd hope for our kids to enjoy things, but shit seems to get out of hand beyond our intention. All right. Y'all take it easy. Cool change of subject, Shafe. All right, take it easy.